And now I'm gonna run. Alright, in the spirit of Oni and the fact that I just did a video tutorial based on Destrik Gamer's tutorial, I figured, hey, you know, why not do one on hiding as well? So, then my mom was dying in the bathroom. Here is a tutorial on how to do the hiding aspects, or at least as close as I can get to it. Where? Let's see. Yeah, that's about it. And we're out. Safe for now. And that's just how this little closet works. It's got a, if you start the event, let me pause that because it's still got a timer going. If you start the event, currently as I have it set up, if you start the event before your enemy shows up into the room, then it's still going to start with the event that you began with before the enemy came in. So, there's that. And let me go to game end, to title, so I can show you guys the bed, which works much the same way, only the bed has a variable randomization thing going on. Yep. And there it goes. So you can also have randomization. So let me go back in here because I goofed this one. Oh. I left that in there. You can go away. Bye. Okay. First, I'm going to go over with the cabinet, which the cabinet, honestly, required the most work because I had to make its own little cabinet that opened up. And to save you guys the trouble, it's an RTP sort of looking cabinet, and you can find a link to that in the description below, so you guys won't have to work that hard to make it yourselves. All you have to do is make your sprite in a crouching position. I might have to make a bigger cabinet though, since this is made to sort of fit the X-size sprites, and even then, as my character says in one of the things, it's a tight fit. So, you will need one cabinet right here, and then a second one with your sprite inside. Now, wait, they didn't change to that, did it? No. Okay, good. I'm paranoid about that. Now, if enemy chase is on, you can set your character to say something, and then you're going to do the same sort of move route you would if you were having it open a door. But instead, have it set up for 5 seconds, because 3 seconds moves it all way too fast. Because then you will, hurry on. Tell it to turn left, then right, in 5 seconds, and then once you've got its move route set up, you tell it to move to change to the cabinet with your sprite inside. And at that point, you'll set a move route to change the player's graphic to nothing. And then move the sprite on top of the cabinet. And then you will do the reverse order of this one up here in order to get the cabinet to close, so it looks like the player character is hiding inside. And then fade up the screen so it's dark, you know, like in Oni, even though it's just an immediate black screen there. And then open door. Where is the ghost? Turn, then closes the door because, hey, can't see this player character. And then you will turn off the appropriate switches, like enemy chase, enemy appear, and the background sound effect, turn that off. And since, going back to the other counters, the other timing counters, since chase counter is still on, so to keep it from being short, the next one shorter than what it should be, you want to tell it to turn chase counter to 0, and then turn waiting game on, if you included that from the last tutorial. And then self switch B on. For self switch B, right here, have it below characters and set to action button. Because apparently setting it same as character doesn't work that way because it's a jerk face. You can fade in screen, set the move route, the cabinet, so it's opening up. Set move out for the player character to turn their sprite back on, and then transfer the player. Now, dynamic. Oop, there we go. Headed space. For fade, for this kind of thing, you don't want it to fade. So you're just going to hit none. That way it'll just look like they're right there. Just jumping down out. And then they close the cabinet back and say they're safe for now, and then turn off the self switch. That way when the event's done, it's just back to this one. And this one right here is if you were in there too long and, well, the enemy shows up, and then this. Okay. But yeah, it's all the same thing. This is all the same stuff that's in the second tab here. In terms of eventing, this required the least amount of work, to say the least. It looks like it's a lot, but it's actually much easier to do than you think. So, there's that. Wait. The bed, however, because it's a randomization, it's, I wouldn't say tougher, but it takes a little bit longer to do. And it certainly looks it. Alright, the bed, I can hide here. Transfer the player at the screen and transfer the player on top of the bed. And since the bed itself is already an item set that the player can't walk over top of it, you don't have to worry about the player character moving around while the screen's still dark. So, then you're going to turn on control variables, and you're going to make a variable called hiding. You could actually make it whatever you want, but, you know. And then you're going to have it set to random. And just for the sake of simplicity, it's 1 in 3 chances. Now, you start making some conditional branches up in this house. If it's set to, if hiding is equal to 1, then this will happen. The door will open. Ghost will be like, where? Door will open again to signal the ghost leaving. And then the same thing happens as with the cabinet. All these go off. And these two on. And it would go over to this one. And remember to put the player character back some part of the room. Like for me, I put the player character right next to the bed, and had her set to be pointed downwards. And again, fade none. Now, for 2 shots, it's not going to happen. But on the magical number 3. And remember, every time you want to make a new conditional branch, you stick it into else. I'm sorry, I really forgot to mention that, and I apologize. If you already knew that, congratulations. I'm glad you already knew that. For those that didn't know that, here you go. I'm sorry I wasted a little bit of time getting to it. But yeah, after every conditional branch is set, if it's not 1, then else it must be 2. And if it's not 2, else it must be 3. Anyway, back to the magical 3. It'll go away at the ghost can go. We'll open the door, go where, and the wait time should be longer than that. Found you, and then scream, game over, fade in, and that's it. Now, since the cabinet isn't really, the cabinet's a little bit flubbed, not by much, but sort of. Mainly because it's a character in of itself. And if you have it set same as character, then, because I had it set at that for a little while and it just wasn't working out. So, because I couldn't click on it because I was same as character. Shouldn't make it, I don't think it really makes sense, but that's just what happened to me. So to get around that, for when it sets you below characters, I just put something underneath it that's impassable. In this case, it's the bathroom scale. And you can sort of see it faded underneath that thing. And that's basically it for this tutorial. And I mean, for if the ghost already comes in, or whatever you have coming in, you could either have this enemy appear thing on, because granted, in our Oni, a lot of the rooms are a lot larger than what this little piddly room is. So again, this is just for the sake of example. It still has its quirks, but I'm pretty sure you guys are smart enough that you can iron them out. And I'll be working on ironing them out myself. That way future people won't have to work so hard on it. In the meantime, I hope this has been helpful. And if it hasn't been, then I apologize greatly. Tell me what needs to be fixed and I'll re-record this happily. And if it's been helpful, great. I'm glad I can help you guys out. So, in the meantime, TTFN, I'll see you guys next time.